not kiss the girls, my lips would grow a moldy. Way ho, way, we'll haul